What's up, guys? Coach Vassar. Thank you for joining me with OTF Audio Daily Beats. As always, if you're new, thank you for tuning in, listening to me talk about these workouts. If you find value in them, great. Let me know. Information is in the description to support me. If you have any feedback, any concerns, any questions, feel free to reach out. We're going to break down Tuesday, August 12th. This will also repeat on Thursday, the 28th. We're going to see endurance on the treads, strength on the rower, power on the weight floor. As always, we'll talk about the 2G first, then break down the 3G. On the 2G side, key concepts for the treads, we're going to see a distance challenge in block 1. You'll have 10.5 minutes to get as far as you can. And then in block 2, you have an extra minute to match or beat that distance, but you'll be going through coach-led intervals. Rower is all about keeping the stroke rate low and your heart rate high as you tackle a 200-meter push row today. And then on the floor, both blocks, you'll see 2 exercises paired together. The first is explosive. The second is loaded with weights. Benches will be in a low bench position, and obviously they're going to be using dumbbells today. Now, when we look at the tread side, they're going to see a total of 23.5 minutes for marathon month. Once again, this is one where we are going to clear out the screen and check remember distances. So have them log in at the start of block 1 because they are going to clear out the screen at the beginning of block 1 and block 2. Okay. Block 1, 10.5 minute tread for distance. Set it and forget it. Progressive build. Hit and hold, those 3 techniques that we use for the mile benchmark. Okay, 10.5 minutes, like if they hold their base, their heart rate's going to climb and eventually they're going to be tapping into like a high green, low orange by the end. Obviously, if they use something just above their base, heart rate will start a little bit higher. What we want to have them to do is have a natural trend upward for the heart rate response. And we want them to finish with some left in the gas tank. That way it's realistic for them to be able to match and or beat the distance in block 2. So if they finish at that all-out, very uncomfortable feeling, probably too aggressive, which is going to make it a little bit harder on the second block because there's only 90 seconds to recover before they get back to work. Okay, so I would encourage conservative approach on this, just above their base. Power walkers, their choice of incline. I would recommend they go at least their base or like somewhere between 4 and 5% on their incline, because when it comes to block 2, the lowest they go for their incline when it comes to work is at least 4%. So to keep it simple, can they hold at least 4% the entire time? Okay. Bikes and striders, obviously RPMs are going to be the focus, 60 to 100, at least base gears or more. If they want some added resistance, maybe 2 gears above base, just to kind of help build that threshold approach for it. Now, block 2 is a mini chipper. So just like the signature workout, we're going to chip away at duration of a push. They'll clear out the screen, 2.5 minute push, 1 minute base, and then 2 minutes, 90 seconds, a minute, and then they go into a bonus at the very end. So with that 2.5 minute push, they are trying to maintain or increase that push intensity. If it's something conservative, they should be able to maintain or add to it. If it's aggressive, maintain is going to be the win for them then. So 4% or greater for that first push for the power walkers, joggers, and runners. Probably about 1 over their base. That way they have room to grow. If they want to start more aggressive, then they just might be able to maintain. After that, they have a 1 minute base. 1 minute, obviously not that much time for true recovery. So yes, heart rate hopefully dips a couple beats per minute, but it may not change color. In fact, after that tough 10.5 minute tread block for block 1, their heart rate should get into that orange pretty quickly during that 2.5 minute push in block 2, and it's going to probably stay there for the rest of the block. In total, they're going to see 4 rounds of that push-based combo. After the 1 minute push, 1 minute base, you'll have a 30-second all-out. A good time for members to check in on their distance is when they complete the 2 minute push and then they're 15 seconds into the base, because I'll put you at 5 minutes and 45 seconds, which is halfway through block 2. So when you get to that point, treads, check your distance. Are you halfway to your block 1 distance? If they are, great. They're going to be on track to match. If they're a little behind, well, they'll need to pick up on their push. If they're ahead, cool. Maintain that push and they'll still do better. So once again, they have that extra minute and it finishes with an all out. So when they hit that all out, add some more speed. Power walkers, 10% or greater, the whole jazz, whole 9 yards, go after it. Okay, now when we look at the rower weight floor side, they'll start on the floor. They're going to have 2 movements back to back. They'll go to the row, come back, 2 movements back to back, go to the row. So there's going to be a lot of movement back and forth on the room. So definitely be mindful of spacing and where people are. We're going to see low bench squat jack. So they'll start on top of the bench, hop their feet out, lower down to that squat. As they jump up, feet go back on. Anywhere from 4 to 10 reps. The idea is explode, then load up. So as they spread their feet and drop down, think as if someone's pulling down quick and then they're exploding up, fighting gravity on the way back up. Pre-fatigues the leg, so hopefully a moderate weight will feel heavy when they go into that goblet squat. Otherwise, try to use heavy weight. At the very least, first round, moderate, and then the next round, try to go up. After those 2 squat movements, rest. When they go to the rower, 20 to 24 strokes per minute, 200-meter push row. So the idea here is to generate more power per stroke rather than do as many strokes as they can. So be efficient in each drive back and let the water do the work on the return. The second back-to-back is going to be decline push-ups with an explosive tempo. Feet are up, hands are on the floor. 1, 2, pause, explode up. Obviously, a decline push-up is more challenging than a regular push-up. So lots of adaptability on adjustments here. They could go right to their knees from the bench, so they're still in that decline position. They could go feet on the floor. They could go knees on the floor, hands on the bench. Lots of ways to customize it for a member. They could even go on the strap if needed and do a chest press. Then that's going to be paired up with a dumbbell low bench chest press. So now they're laying back on the bench, dropping those elbows below the plane of the torso, and then explode, and then driving up to get that big stretch at the bottom, and then retract and squeeze. Once again, same idea as the other explode load. Hopefully the push-up fatigues the chest, so that way a moderate weight feels heavy and challenging for them. After that, they go back to the row. Once they finish that second row, now they're going to do just the floor stuff. They'll be done with the rower. So they only do 400 meters total in block 1. Block 2 is set up the same way. So different explode load, row, another explode load, second row, then they're done with the rower. Okay. So the first one, we're going to see hip hinge swing paired up with deadlifts. You could do a tempo good morning for that hip hinge swing, tempo deadlift into a regular deadlift, deadlift go down to a glute bridge as options. So a lot of adaptability there as well. And then when we go into the next lower body movement, it's going to be a forward lunge with chop, something that we haven't seen in a while, but dumbbell will start on one shoulder. Opposite foot will step forward as then they rotate. As they drive that heel, they'll come back up. Very challenging movement because, of course, balance, coordination. I try to encourage members to stay upright, and as they drop the weight, twist the shoulders rather than let the weight pull forward, because that can strain the lower back. So we want that more of a rotation from the upper body to get the obliques engaged. The option for that is, of course, they could do a reverse lunge into a torso rotation, and then that's going to pair up with the high plank pull through. So they're doing forced rotation into counter rotation. And then they'll repeat those 4 movements until we call time. Their finisher is their choice of any of the 3 power-based movements. So the squat jack, the push-up, or the hip hinge swing. Once again, they're only hitting the row a total of 4 times, twice in block 1, twice in block 2, and then they're done with the rower. When we look at the 3G, we're going to see 2 blocks on the treads, 1 long block on the rower, and then 2 blocks on the weight floor. On the tread side, we're going to have a total of 14.5 minutes for marathon month. They'll clear out the screen of block 1 for a 6-minute tread, and then block 2, they now have 7 minutes to match or beat. Okay, we'll see a 2-minute push, a 1-minute push, and a 30-second push. So 3 rounds with 1-minute bases, and then they finish with a 30-second all out. Okay, same idea as trying to increase the push as it gets shorter or maintain an aggressive push that they start with. On the rower, it's going to be a 500-meter push row at a low stroke rate of 20 to 24, and establishing pretty much their recommended split time that we want to use. After they finish that 500-meter push row at that low stroke rate, we're going to see 3 weighted exercises. The first one is the Y-bell shoulder press. So they'll hold the Y-bell with both handles in that goblet position. The third handle will point downward. They'll do 8 shoulder presses. They'll keep that weight there, alternate reverse lunges, and then they'll do a reverse lunge press, that's 1, next leg press, that's 2. So in total, there's 24 reps of those combined of those 3 movements, they'll recover, and then they go back to the 500-meter push row. So the good thing about the rower block for the 3G, because it's the 500-meter row, encourage members to pay attention to their split time. The first row gives them the goal split time for them to use to be able to match or beat. So if they finish it in 1:45, when they repeat it, split time's got to be 1:45 or lower to match or beat. But remember, keep that stroke rate 20 to 24. So approach it as a higher stroke rate on that first round, a little bit less leg drive, and then as they repeat, drop the stroke rate, increase leg drive, or the opposite, a lower stroke rate, less power, they will take longer, but then if they drive back harder, they move quicker, they'll finish faster as well. So kind of customize it to what would make sense for the member that maybe struggles with, the correlation of low stroke rate to high power and how it works for them. On the weight floor, it's 2 blocks. It's the same setup as the 2G, just without the rowing. So block 1, you'll see the squat jack, goblet squat, push up, chest press, and then block 2, swing, deadlift, forward chop, and pull through. And then the same finisher, their choice of squat jack, decline push up, or hip hinge swing. And there you have it for Tuesday, August 12th. Once again, this will repeat on Thursday, the 28th. Any feedback, let me know. Other than that, coach it down.